All right, fellas. So this is the Supreme Magnificent Battle, aka the Supreme Battle Spectacle, with a full Extreme Class team, one of every type.
神が行えば善となることも、人が行えばこれに悪となり、罪となるのだ。
So these first three stages are our introduction to this Supreme Magnificent Battle that Dokkan just introduced, aka the Supreme Battle Spectacle, aka the Blue Zone, right? All of these things, right? It's going to be known by all of these things. So I decided that let's go ahead and try Fizz Goku Black's team. So the reason why I went with Fizz Black is I felt like this fight would actually carry on for a little while, just considering this boss is so tanky. So real quick, I'm going to flash the stats here for Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, who's... he's not really Blue Kaioken, but he is, right? So the big thing with him is he is able to have his attack lowered, and he is raising his own attack on his super attack. And as I said, he's very tanky. I think it said 64% damage reduction and 150 million HP. So this he's no joke, right? And he's hitting you for about 1.7 million on the super attacks. So he's no joke, right? But why I went with Fizz Black is because number one, type advantage, right? And I think the big thing here is that Fizz Goku Black is actually going to be able to sit in slot 1 for a change. So before attacking, aka in slot 1, he's got 30% damage reduction baseline, and then per Super Boss's category ally, which the whole team is Super Bosses in this case, he's getting 6% damage reduction, right? So he's got 60% damage reduction in slot 1. So if we get hit with type advantage, we're not dying. I mean, do we take probably 200k? Yeah, probably. But we live to fight another day. This guy's cooldown is 5, it said. So, and also he can do this, right? He can do the Ki Blast nullification, which is absolutely huge. Honestly, this fight is kind of tailor-made, more or less, for this Fizz Goku Black. He performed incredibly well. I was actually pretty impressed with his performance in this fight. So when you're able to lock down slot 1, like we were able to do in this fight, really most characters in the game can tank in slots 2 and 3. Slot 1 characters are the special characters, right? Now, I wouldn't call Fizz Goku Black a special slot 1 character, right? He's not that kind of unit, but in this fight he is. But anyway, so we're able to lock down slot 1. It's really just, you know, we got to kind of piecemeal together units that can tank supers in slots 2 and 3, which in this particular case, I really think we're able to, right? We've got, so Fizz Goku Black, right? Fizz Ros, that is. And then we have the newly super Extreme Z awakened Fizz base form Goku Black, who really is just an obscene monster. He's really good, particularly here on Global. He's got higher stats. They do officially now have the exact same kit on JP and Global, but his stats are higher. And again, having type advantage, he's getting like 50% attack and defense per key sphere. He's supporting the rotation. He's pretty much a pretty good link battery for any other Goku Black on the team, any other, you know, Rose we have on the team, any other Zamasu on the team. A pretty good link battery for them. He's just an overall, like, really solid unit, right? He is really good. I like what he was able to bring to the table, and if I didn't mention it, you know, type advantage in here is obviously very helpful. So you guys can kind of see the way we rounded out the rest of the team here. Tech Zamasu. So Tech Zamasu is definitely still a good character. He's particularly good in the first couple of turns. So the thing about Tech Zamasu, so essentially, if all things are in his favor, right, he's got 80% damage reduction at the very start of fight, and then it drops down to 60%, and then once the entrance animation wears off, he only has 40%. Now, 40% damage reduction it's good enough in slot 2, but he's not really going to be able to tank super attacks. He will be able to tank normals from this guy, but yeah, tanking supers is definitely another story for him. You guys will see later in this video, right? Tech Merge Zamasu or Tech Fusion Zamasu Not really being able to tank, unfortunately, type disadvantage. Now, if it were turn 1, slot 1, he can tank just fine, right? But after the entrance animation wears off, and he's down to 40% damage reduction, like I said, just not really good enough. This is it right here, right? So he does super first, right? And I believe that actually saved us there. So he was able to super attack and raise his defense a bit. And but he took 500k on the super. Honestly, all things considered, that's not terrible. I believe he was at 60% damage reduction there, because it obviously wasn't the first turn. I think so it's turn 3, so we're still within the entrance animation. So yeah, he had 60% damage reduction there. So again, man, it was good enough to get the job done. And then we are going to be able to get this domain, which is going to be really helpful. So this is where Fizz, Goku Black, Fizz Ros gets absolutely just nutty. So at his peak, right, at absolute peak, he could, this sounds wild, but this is true, right? He could potentially super attack 9 times in a turn. 9 times, bro. He could super attack 9 times in a turn. If all things were, you know, able to go according to plan. Oh, this was me checking the passive of Fizz Goku Black. I wanted to make sure it wasn't only limited to Fizz key spheres, so I went ahead and got him the most key spheres possible there. But again, man, Fizz Ros just an absolute beast in this state. So he's also buffing the whole entire team. Super bosses getting attack and defense 10%, and then extreme class allies getting an additional attack and defense 10%. So essentially, all of these characters on this team are getting a 20%, essentially like active skill, attack and defensive buff, dude. Like, it is actually crazy, right? So again, this guy could potentially super attack 9 times, and he's getting attack and defense 33% within the same turn per attack, which really, really ramps up. If you actually get one of these rare chance to super attacks to proc, dude, he can really start to get nasty, because you are going to get more than likely you're going to proc his hidden potential system, and at the very least, he's going to be super attacking. If you get him 3 rainbow key spheres, which I believe we did on that turn, again, even if he's only super attacking, you know, 5 times, 6 times, he's still doing a ton, and he is super effective against all types as is. So again, man, Fizz Ros, dude, when he has the domain active and he's buffing the whole entire team like this is a good effect on a domain. It's just his team is weird, right? Super Bosses is it's a really odd team, and the way that domains work, right? Like, this guy can't transform now, right? And that is another unfortunate thing about Ros, is Ros reverts back to his base form, quote unquote his base form, right? He's reverting back to his pre-cloned state is I think what they call it. He clones himself. So he reverts back to that state. And then again, it does limit your ability to use other domains. So this is up for 4 turns. So this guy has probably the best domain ability in the game in this Tech Zamasu, right? He just is literally invincible, right? He cannot be touched at all by any boss, any super attack. But this is one instance. I didn't go over the other units on the team, but bro, the additional super attack wins us the fight, right? It wasn't a big dodge this time. It was the additional attack by STR Ros. Not too much to talk about here. He was literally just pretty much the only option I had. And then Int Zamasu with his 40% damage reduction with a full Realm of Gods squad actually worked out pretty well. But that is the run, guys. No need to carry on any further. We get it done. No items. Slap a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are new. Love you guys. Enjoy the 9th anniversary, and I will catch you in the next one. Later.